Welcome back. You're watching Hard Copy, coming to you from our studios in Abuja. Our guest tonight is the National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Oshiomhole, and we're discussing the aftermath of the 2019 general elections. Some of your party members are accused of bad sportsmanship.
It's all about accusation, right?
Yes, they're introducing into the mix a dimension lawyers say could endanger our democracy. They're going to court in the middle of collation, stopping collation, and, in some instances, stop halting the process, so to speak. Some people think that's a dangerous precedent being set by members of your party.
The courts are part of the system. And we have agreed as a people to submit to the rule of law. So if anyone, and it doesn't need a party resolution, because don't forget that, yes, the party produced the candidate, and a candidate can decide with or without the party's backing to go to court if he feels that something has gone wrong. So that people approach courts rather than resort to cutlass is, for me, positive. Anytime anybody chooses to go to court, I don't think we should worry. The only thing that we need to make sure that the judiciary recognize that this is a huge responsibility that they have to play in their own part, on their own part, to contribute to the sustenance of democracy. So approaching the court is not like approaching a military armory. It doesn't kill. It merely helps to pronounce who is right or wrong in the eyes of the law. And if more and more Nigerians have faith in this process, I believe violence will be out of it.
Looking ahead, the jostling for the 2019 leadership, National Assembly leadership seats have started. Your party has said they're interested in filling all the seats apart from the minority seat.
What?
You have said you're interested in filling all the seats apart from the minority seats. However, some people already say you shouldn't impose what you want on us. You should let us speak what it is that we want for ourselves. How are you going to handle this?
Not how we're going to handle it. We're already handling it. The thing is that there are universal rules that we can't invent a Nigeria variant. In America, which we often refer to, obviously because we all claim to copy the American presidential system, it's obvious that when the majority, when they go to the polls, I think Mrs. Pelosi is probably a correct example that I found quite interesting. So we don't need to do any archival work to understand this. She was the speaker on the basis of the fact that the Democrat had majority. When they went for an election and the Democrat lost to the Republicans and the Democrat had minority members, she became minority leader. And I forget the name of the guy now who then became the speaker. Now, in the last midterm election, the American people favored the Democrats with majority, and Pelosi automatically became the speaker. You cannot have a democracy in which you have majority and then minority produce the deputy senate president. It was wrong. But it happened because we could not manage our numbers.
Well, 2015 is an instance. Sorry to interrupt you, sir. 2015 is an instance, but I also refer to 2011 as well, where it was not your party, it was the PDP this time around. But they obviously went against what their party wanted, and it was because of that disagreement, that non-management of the process, that eventually saw them defect to your own party when 2015 was around the corner. The question is, how do you ensure that these defections do not keep happening within
I like the
ruling party?
I like your recollection that the leadership that emerged was not, in 2011, was not the favored leadership by the PDP.
Yes.
And that as a consequence, you didn't put that, but it is implied. As a consequence, over time, that leadership, which was not the preferred leadership, decamped to another party. That is the danger of people who assume position by manipulating the system to emerge against the wish of their people. But don't forget that it is not for nothing that the Nigeria Constitution did not allow, as we speak, for independent candidate. You must belong to a party. And the party is not expected to be a mere electoral platform. If once people get elected, now they cannot be elected as independent, But once they get elected, then they become independent and they begin to do whatever they like. They can move to the left, they can move to the right, they can move to the center, and you can't predict anything. My dream on becoming chairman is that we must put an end to this. Now, during the election, we went around to campaign for these people. When we get to state, we say, Degesama Harikasa, which means from the president to the National Assembly, to the governor, to the House of Assembly. We campaigned for all of them. We provided logistic support for every senator that contested on APC platform. We provided logistic support for every senator, every congressman that contested on APC platform. Now, having won as a party, and on the logo, on the ballot, there is no portrait of anybody. And the Supreme Court has said it is parties that win election, not individuals. Now, if this is the truth, you think it makes sense that once the elections are over, parties should go to sleep and we now have a cocktail of individuals, everybody drink whatever he likes? I think that is the issue. What we seek to do is to be able to deliver on the promises we made to Nigeria people as a party.
Let us talk about national unity. One of the things that people talk about is a country divided, and usually the divisions become bigger after elections. You know, there have been criticisms that your comments after the elections have not helped. You said that the vice president was never destined to be president. Some people say that, but your candidate presented himself 4 times before he eventually clinched it the 4th time. And they felt that that statement was a bit hurtful to those who had voted, to the 11 million voters plus who had voted for the Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And they're wondering, moving forward, how does your party intend to, bring Nigerians together and heal the wounds usually caused during an election?
Nigerians are much more than the politicians. The aspiration of Nigeria is not tied to the whims and caprices of a particular politician. So the issue of national unity, I'm happy you've raised it. Part of the reason we thought it's worthwhile, and I believe it is, why we have to have a conversation with our National Assembly members, is to be able to persuade them to service the geopolitical diversity of Nigeria. Because if you simply go with the logic, theory of go and vote, it is your right to vote, they will exercise that right. The outcome can be embarrassing in terms of national unity. And that is why we thought we needed to have a conversation.
What positions are you looking at giving, or are you leaving for somebody from the southeast, for instance, which was one region that complained bitterly of marginalization?
Those who complain of marginalization, is it that because they didn't have governors of their own choosing? Is it because they didn't have a minister in their own state?
No, Chairman, you're selectively answering this question. When it suits you, you answer, you're talking about how you're meeting with your members. But when, I talk about a specific region which has constantly complained of being marginalized.
Every Nigeria is complaining.
Yes, perhaps so, but some louder than others.
When people twist facts, those who complain that you choose to listen to, and you downplay those who celebrate it. I have received a lot of commendation for the initiative of the party, but try to engage members of the National Assembly and engage the executive and bring the two together to discuss questions of having now won, how do we manage our huge majority? That is what some people choose to now say. Oshiomhole says, do I look like someone who can appoint and impose somebody on the Senate, even if I wish to? Is it by reference to my size, by reference to a study I have? What do I have? So all I have is the power to persuade, the power to negotiate, and the power to point out what might go wrong if we do not talk together, so that we have a process that in the course of electing leadership, we do not run into crisis. So all I can tell you straight to your question is that each of the 6 geopolitical zones will have a principal officer in the Senate, and they will have a principal officer in the House of Rep. What that principal officer will be has not been resolved. We are currently discussing the zoning.
Well, that's it on this edition of Hard Copy. We will, however, have tidbits for you on Twitter, which will be exclusive to our followers on Twitter. So please follow us using the handles on your screen. Thank you for watching tonight. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf. See you next time.